up next is Carlaina Brown, and she makes abstract art. We're in the abstract art section here today, and I've always enjoyed her work. Her work typically is in her studio at the E Street Studios. And yeah, let's see if we can find her here. I think she's ready to jump in where she was a moment ago, but she might, wait, there we go. Go ahead and turn your video on, Carlaina, and unmute yourself. This is fun. We're getting to learn new people all the time.
It says I cannot start my video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, maybe maybe that's
Hello,
me.
I'm here though.
I just asked you to start your video, Carlaina. You should have.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, I see that. Yeah. Hello. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Can you re-say your name for everyone? Because I think that I just totally butchered it and I apologize.
Right. Yeah. My name is Carlaina.
Carlaina.
So you want to put those two vowels together, Carlaina.
Carlaina. It's a lovely name.
Yeah. Thank you.
So how's your, how are you shaping up for this weekend? Are you excited?
I'm a little apprehensive about it. I don't quite know what to do with the live stream. I have little ideas of discussions I could have, but the idea of speaking to a screen is odd. I think a lot of it will look like, you know, webcam security footage. Where it's just, it'll be popped up on a shelf somewhere, and it'll be this room with this person who moves around. Kind of.
It'll be the most creative webcam security footage out there. That's all I can say. Well, you look ready. I'm excited to see all of this work that's hanging behind you. You look ready to share and talk about it. So how long have you been making abstract work, and have you always been making abstract work? I'm just curious.
Yeah, pretty much my work has always been abstract. Starting from you know, university, pretty much. Once I realized I didn't have to make it look like something, that was just, I took off with that, and it's been that way for the last 30 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's so awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your process? Sounds like it's abstract through and through. And maybe just tell us a little bit about that, how you work and how you come to your pieces.
Yeah, I usually start with a material or a quality that I'll see somewhere. It's a lot of looking at other people's work and seeing certain kinds of qualities with materials or and how they interact, and wanting to recreate that in some way and give that expression for my own work. In the process with that, it's usually a lot of planning that then gets scrapped along the way. So my work is about working through it. So it's a lot of layering, a lot of juxtaposition of color, shapes, forms, lines, and wanting to kind of build on that. So the plan is one thing, the final product is usually something else. And that's always fun. That's what I enjoy most about making, is that process, that evolution of, you know, having an idea and maybe then realizing that idea wasn't really so exciting after all. This is a whole lot more exciting over here, and I think I'm going to go this way with it, and that discovery that comes with that kind of exploratory process, and abstraction lends itself to that.
Do you ever have that, I know when we start off with a basic plan or sort of a seed, sometimes when the plan needs to change, and for good reason, sometimes it can have that abrupt feeling, or maybe like, I don't really want to let go of that. Do you ever have trouble killing your darlings, you know, in that way, like removing yourself from the plan, even though overall it sounds like you enjoy that whole explorative process?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times I will save something, because that was the little germ, you know, the thing that started it all. I have to keep that in there. I'm not gonna paint over there. I'm gonna keep this area pristine, and then when it's done, I'll look at it and it's just like, it's all about that one brush stroke. It doesn't make any sense. Why, you know, it's like I painted around that color, that brush stroke, or that shape, because it was so precious. And, you know, I kind of lost the painting as a whole, or maybe I've got two paintings going on. So I think in the end, it's better to just let go and continue. You can always, you know, pick up on that in the next piece. So that's what I've learned over time. At least that's been my experience. Yeah.
So do you, so it sounds like you might have two paintings go in at once, or how many do you typically have going at once that you're working on at the same time?
I'll keep everything out that is in progress. And that can be a lot of things. That can be up to 10 or 15 pieces that are, you know, mostly small, you know, if you're talking about that many, but then some larger, medium-sized pieces. And so it becomes like, if I see that I'm doing something here with a color or, you know, a certain type of material, and it might move another piece, because I'll think, oh, wow, what if I did that over here? And then that's going to push this over here. So there are dialogues, you know, that are happening between the pieces that, so I always keep everything out that I'm actually working on at the moment, because I want them to have that interaction and that dialogue. And
yeah,
so,
I think that's,
yeah, I work with a lot of things at one time.
I like that approach, and I think I can see some of that in the work that's behind you as well. I'm curious, does it all finish at the same time? Do all of those pieces that you might have out at once sort of finish roughly around the same time, or do new pieces start? Is it a thread?
You know, I never really thought of that, but when I think back on that, you're right. They do kind of come to conclusions together. I'd say, you know, maybe one comes to a conclusion. It's like, oh, right, that's it. That's where this needs to be. And then I'll start looking at the other victims. You know? It's like,
the other victims.
I'm like, oh, and you could end that way too. And so, you know, they do. They kind of come up together and they go down together. Maybe not in the same day or the same week, but there is that kind of interaction that will yeah. And then that'll kind of push me into a bunch of blank slates that now, what do I want to do? What was most interesting about that particular experience with that group, and where do I want to take it? And a lot of that is also looking at other people's work and seeing things that I like, that now I want to explore that, and, you know, how can I incorporate into
getting that inspiration for sure.
Yeah.
So what keeps you motivated to keep going with everything we've got going on in the world right now? I'm really curious. What keeps you motivated to make art?
Yeah, what keeps me motivated? I think what keeps me sane is doing it. And I know that that's always cliche, but there really is that zone, that meditative kind of space where the rest of the world, and especially in this time with COVID, you know, all of those worries and anxieties can just kind of leave my mind, and I'm just completely absorbed in this process. So I think that that's always what keeps me going, is that need to go to that space, that mental space. And right now it's really serving its purpose well.
Yeah, it's a nice respite.
Right,
yeah, for sure. So I'm looking at some of the work behind you, and I'm wondering, it looks like some of it is painted on paper. Can you tell us a little bit more about roughly, are these like the sizes you normally paint in? Do you go larger? Do you go smaller? Is it always paper? It looks like maybe some canvas as well.
Yeah, I've put the smaller work behind me, but recently things have been pretty small. So I've kind of been drawn to that more intimate kind of space where I don't have the big gestures, you know, it's not so physical. It's more of an intimate experience working on these pieces. And so the work has been smaller recently. That changes, you know, that's just constantly switching depending on how I'm feeling about things. And I because I've been starting primarily with watercolors, or at least water-based paints, I really like the way that paper will pick up that. So I really enjoy working on paper. I like a solid surface, and paper allows, you know, me to place it on a solid surface. So canvas is always a little frustrating for me because of that push and pull. You get that movement to it, and I can't really get in there and really, you know, apply pressure. But I enjoy the paper, and what I'll do a lot of times, the ones that are a little bit out of the wall are just that I'll then put that on a board so that it can hang. So it's not going to be framed. It's going to be adhered to a board.
Mounted,
and
okay.
then it becomes a solid piece. But when I'm working on it, for the most part, it's on paper. I also really enjoy aluminum. I get aluminum scrap. So some of those are on aluminum. And that's different. Obviously, there's not the absorption. So that's more oils and spray paints, which I'm really loving right now, are spray paints.
Okay, so you mentioned you're using watercolor or water-based paints to start, and then for
Yes.
some of them here, you're using the oil-based paints and spray paints, especially for the metal.
Right. I'll move to that with the paper. Okay. But if I'm starting with the metal, I'm not going to get much with water-based. So yeah, the oils.
That makes a lot of sense. How many layers do you think you put on your paintings typically? You mentioned layers earlier. And
yeah,
so
layers. A lot of it has to do with transparency. I like also the shift, that the effect of shifting kind of the dimension or the perspective that happens with layers, where just, it's hard for me to describe, you know, without an image of it. But there are, I'd say, at least 20 to 30 layers.
Wow,
that
that's
I will work with. Yeah.
That's a lot of layers. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite material that you're working with right now?
Right now, I'm exploring a lot in final layers with spray paints and stencils and things like that, to kind of tie things in and create some sort of structure. It feels like it gives the work some sort of structure. So I've been exploring that, and I love going to buy spray paints, you know, going into the hardware store. It's like get the candy row aisle, you know, all those colors. It's just fabulous. So yeah, so I enjoy that about it. And I like the kind of, it takes the hand away. So there's you know, the brush strokes and the painting, and then there's the going in with the spray paint, which takes away that hand and kind of looks mechanical or machine made. So I like to play with that.
That's a great juxtaposition. Yeah. So if anyone would like to buy your work, how are they going to do that this weekend?
Well, they can direct message me. I'll be streaming on Instagram, so it would be really easy if they're in Instagram to just direct message me. Also, you know, everybody has our emails on the Verge Artist Directory, so they can contact me that way.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Carlaina B.
Carlaina B. Awesome. Well,
B is in Brown.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing Open Studios. I'm really happy that you're here today and that you're sharing your work with people this weekend. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks, Kate.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you.
Enjoy
well, have a
the
great
rest
weekend.
of your interviews.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.